Heck yeah. Well, we've got our affiliates, friends, homies, whatever you feel best calling them. We've got a few of them that we want to give a shout out to that we want you guys to go check out and get some good stuff from. We've got our homies over at Slayer.
Best elk calls I've ever blew, guys. That they're perfection. So
Yes, I could not agree more. I used the crap out of mine this season. And I can promise you I'm going to be getting more. I am going to be getting a bugle tube as well because I may or may not have lost mine during this elk season.
good thing it wasn't the acrylic one.
Yeah.
No,
No, yeah.
I lost every single one of my reeds throughout the season. This is the most I've ever lost reeds, but so maybe that's why I didn't kill an elk during archery, but but they make some dang good ones. The orange one's my favorite. I don't know what name it has, but the orange one is by far my favorite. All
Yeah.
round use. So
No, heck yeah. They are primo calls. I promise you will not regret getting them. And they've got all sorts of other calls as well. They've got a few predator calls, a bunch of duck and goose calls, turkey. A lot of what you'll need, they've got. So go check them out.
yep, and it's all quality, guys. And the elk calls are pretty reasonably priced too, in all
Yeah.
reality. So, yeah, go check them out. But yeah, let's just go into the next one. It's Ready Wise, dude. I don't know how many Ready Wise meals you ate this year, but I cooked up quite a few.
Oh, yeah. And many more to come.
Oh yeah, cold season's coming up, and second season's coming up here soon for you guys, and second and third, and in Colorado, and yeah, they hit the spot on a cold afternoon.
Oh,
So
yeah.
uh,
No, it's going to be pretty nice to have us some really good tasting meals, really easy to make, and at a good price, too.
and they don't destroy you.
No, no, they
So
don't.
that's the biggest issue I've had with meals like that. Is I eat one, I'm like, didn't need no one needed to bring wipes up on the mountain either.
Oh, heck yeah. So go check out ReadyWise. They've got a ton of options for you to pick from. Uh, find your favorites. Find your favorites and keep getting them. Go and check out a bunch of different ones if you want. I've got multiple different ones here at my house right now that I freaking love and I keep getting over and over again.
And if you're in a pinch, they're at Walmart.
Yeah,
So
that's where I
don't
get half of mine.
you're right. So don't don't go looking in the outdoor section. Go looking in the food section. That's the mistake I've made before.
Yep,
But yeah, they're at Walmart, guys. So, but help us out. Use our promo code H&H Pursuit,
yep,
um, and go get you some Ready Rise meals. So
yeah. Another thing you will not regret. And our last one, as we've had them on our podcast before. Our homies over at MAHCO, they've
Dave
continued to
Phelps.
hook us up. They have become friends of ours, and we're very grateful to call them friends and to have them as our affiliates. I used the heck out of my Habit camo this year, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to use the heck out of it the rest of this year. It's
Especially
going to
with tough
be
cold coming.
cold.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some colds coming this upcoming season, and it's going to be nice because the gear I have is really good quality. It's warm, and honestly, it looks pretty dang good too.
Mm-hmm. No, dude, I love my. I just got those new. Um, they're high end, whatever.
The Shadow series.
Shadow series, yes, and they did not disappoint. So for the price, they're solid pants. So you're not gonna regret getting them. They're nice. they're a little bit on the big side, but I'd much rather big than have everything tight and squeezed, especially
Oh,
when you're
heck yeah.
covering miles. So I used to crap out of them during this rifle season here in Wyoming, and they're can't wait to use them the rest of the year. Put them up against the
Oh,
real
yeah.
elk. So
Yeah, and they'll have pretty much anything you're looking for. If you're looking for some cold weather, staying warm type stuff like we've been talking about, they've got it. If you're looking for some hot weather, something to keep you cool during the summer, they've got it. If you're looking for something to help you on the river while you're fishing, they got
mm,
it. If you're looking for something that will look classy as heck on you, they've got it.
they got. If you're looking for work gloves, they got them.
They've got them.
They got everything.
Camping
Everything.
chairs, tents, pretty much anything you will need for your outdoor adventures, they've got.
Yep. Yeah. Anything that you can imagine, they have. So, yeah, go check them out. Hit up our friend Jay Phelps, and he is an amazing guy to work with. So, can't wait to have him on the podcast again. It's gonna happen soon. So,
Heck yeah.
yeah, with
Perfect.
that,
With that,
let's roll on into it.
heck yeah. Welcome to the H&H podcast. We've, as before, we talked a bit about how our season was going. We're going to tell you how this first season, September elk hunt, as well as a couple other stuff, how it went. And we're going to get into some details today with stuff like that.
Lots of
Today is going to,
stories. Lots of
yes,
stories.
we have lots of stories, lots of good stories to throw at you. Today's going to be focused more on my end
Mm-hmm.
of that.
It was a
I've
pretty
got,
phenomenal end, guys. Just,
yeah,
I mean, that the podcast was my first time hearing a lot of it, and it was pretty dope. So,
yeah. I
if you like
I've had a
archery
lot.
elk hunting, you're not going to want to miss it.
No, I've had a lot of good elk hunting experiences, and not to burst the bubble or spoil anything, but having not gotten elk, this was my best season yet.
Well, as Grandpa Hall would always say, it's the best hunt you can ever have without ruining it and killing something.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
no, dude. Yeah, not to spoil it too much, but last days in that unit have just sounded phenomenal.
oh
So
yeah.
one of my favorite hunts was the last day I came up and hunted with you 3 years ago,
I think so.
and
Q3.
yeah, yeah, phenomenal, phenomenal stories, guys. You're not going to want to miss it. So
Freak yeah. With that, let's hop into it.
let's go.
Heck yeah, dude.
About
Oh,
time.
I know, man. It's been a while.
Yes.
Weeks.
Yep. So I'm going to apologize ahead of time, guys. September's been a busy month for me. So there's not going to be anything during September. I mean, you guys already know this, but there's not going to be anything in September, early October. So sorry, not sorry. Life hit
Yeah.
and hit full throttle, and I'm not apologizing, but I am letting you guys know that it's not. I mean, these are going to be a little bit later and far spread out. So, but with
And
that, it's
to be
October.
fair, we did tell everyone beforehand it would be a bit
Oh, we did,
scarce.
we did. So, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for this one. So,
Heck yeah.
but
No, it's it's been pretty crazy couple month, few weeks, month and a half, whatever.
mm-hmm.
A lot of hunting.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking, well, not really, but I did get out a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah, I
So,
got out
my
way
wife,
more than I thought I would.
yeah, but But anyway, so we left off last podcast. I think you're chasing bears still and barely starting on elk.
Barely starting on elk. I'd gone out. Did I go out at all? Maybe once at that point for elk.
Yeah.
Was still chasing bears. Yeah,
Did you ever see a bear after that first couple days?
I did. I did.
Did you?
Yeah, that's going to be part of my recap today.
Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, so we
So
had the September archery season come and go. And
it
Colton's
went
in rifle right
fast.
now. Yeah, oh my
Yep.
goodness, it went a lot faster than it should have. But
Yeah, it flew. It was ridiculous.
yeah, I mean, on Saturday, in just a couple days, Colorado's going to start its first season elk.
Mm-hmm.
And then end of the month, we've got second season rifle coming up. And it's,
And
yeah,
I'll be out there third
October's
season.
already half over almost.
Yeah, it's crazy. Shoot, yeah, not to spoil anything, but everybody knows. If you follow the Instagram page, you know. If not, go follow us. But yeah, beginning of rifle season was pretty eventful. But that was still like almost 2 weeks ago. Like, I mean, it was only a week ago, but it feels a long time ago. But
Yeah.
anyway, but yeah, yeah, I'll let you take it away and you start, and I'm excited to hear
Oh,
your stuff.
heck.
And
Well, me and my coworker hunted together a lot this year. And there were multiple just single days that we went out, take a day in the middle of the week to take off work and go out hunting. Oh man, this year was crazy. Every time I went out, let me make sure I'm not lying about this. Every time I went out, we got into elk. Every time except once, we got into bulls. Every time.
oh, really?
Yeah. Now, getting to where we could make a shot was a whole nother story. But every time I went out, I got into elk. And oh, we had one day that we got to where we wanted to go before light. And that day I was with my father-in-law and a couple of my sister-in-laws, one of my sister-in-laws, and my niece. And got to our spot we want to head to, and there was already like 4 vehicles parked there. We were like, "No, we're gonna we're gonna go somewhere else." So we went
Mm-hmm.
up the road a couple miles, went somewhere else, pulled off, and where we were parked, we were just right off the main road. And get out of the truck and off the edge of the canyon, you can hear a bugle. And I'm like, no way. So I listen for a minute and it keeps bugling. So I get my bugle out and I start going back and forth with him. I can't tell if it's a hunter or not yet because,
Mm-hmm.
it's not sounding great. But I bugle, he responds, and then a minute or two goes by without him responding. And then he bugles again, and this time he's quite a bit closer.
Oh no.
And I'm like, man, this is not a person. And so me and my sister-in-law, I keep going back and forth with that guy, trying to figure out a good way to either bail off and get set up or wait for him to come up, trying to figure out what's going on. So we
This
were
is in the
like,
morning,
okay,
right?
this is, first thing in the morning. Sun's
So
barely
Curtis
coming up
probably
at
going
this
straight
point.
down too.
Yeah. Um, so we decided to get up on this hill that was 200 yards behind us. Get up on there to see if we can, because then we'll have a better vantage point to glass down into that canyon. It's a big valley more so. And see if we can get eyes on this bull, see what he's doing, because he's just down there going back and forth right now, just
Mm-hmm.
bugling. So we go and get going up the hill, and all of a sudden we look over, and there's 4 cows right there, 100 yards from us. So we're like, frick. And my sister-in-law she was willing to shoot a cow. I wasn't yet. The time came when I was, but at that point I wasn't there yet. And so we decided to abandon the bull for now because the cows are right there. We
Yeah.
make a big plan, and we ended up circling clear back around just because the breeze wasn't working in our favor. One cow had us pinned already. The other 3 were feeding. Made a big circle around, come up through some trees. A doe busts, and I'm just like,
Oh,
that's it. Doe
yeah.
busts. And so I was like, let's just hurry and get to where we were planning. We get up there, and those cows are still feeding right there. And so I'm like, this may happen. Like, holy cow. They're on the edge of this hillside that kind of circles back. And so we get over on the edge where it comes down. And we're just in this little group of trees. And the elk start coming towards us. And then they can tell something's up. At least
Yeah.
that lead cow can. She knew something was up. The other 3 were just following. And that doe that busted out, they were kind of keeping an eye on her. She came running back at us.
Oh no.
Got 5 yards from us or so, saw us, turned around and busted back out. So I'm just like, you freaking kidding me. Well, those elk are watching her, and when she busted out again, they start heading up the hill away from us. As they're getting to the top, a couple gunshots go off because this was during muzzleloader season too.
Oh, okay.
Some gunshots go off a couple 100 yards up. So they flip a 180 and start coming back down the hill. And then that doe that busted out started coming back, and they stop when they see her. And then they turn and come right at us. They're coming right at us. And we weren't quite in a good spot yet. We wanted to be about 10 yards further up than where we were. But every little movement that they just kept, they knew something was up.
Yeah.
And eventually they got to about 40 yards from us. And the first cow hustled through because she was the one that had eyes the whole time. Hustled through. The next one was a yearling cow, and so just kind of let it go. And the last 2 came, and the last one stopped right in this little opening, but there's still like it was still kind of a tough shot. Uphill,
Yeah.
bushes in front of us, but she stopped. And so my sister-in-law got set up and shot, and the arrow hit one of the bushes, just the
Deflected.
very, very top of it, and deflected underneath the cow. Like right underneath. Oh man, if that thing wasn't there, we'd have been taking that cow home with us.
Oh yeah, and it doesn't seem. And you were uphill from the road.
Oh, dude, we were maybe 200 yards from the road, uphill the whole way.
Easy money.
Oh, it was crazy how perfect it was. But just that one frickin' bush.
Yeah, that sucks. Fun experience though.
Oh yeah. We spent a lot of time. My niece, this was her first year hunting ever, and
Was she hunting with bow or muzzleloader?
bow.
Oh,
So
oh, really?
she had an elk tag and a deer tag,
Oh,
and so
really?
we got on a bunch of deer, but just couldn't make it happen. And
Within
she's only
4 feet or so?
a few forkies.
Gotcha.
The last time I went out with them was a pretty decent buck. I mean, he was in between the sizes of these two.
Okay.
Decent 4 point. And then the first day we took her out, oh heck, dude! On our way up, we had a buck jump in front of us in the road, and it was a pretty big. It was a 3x4, 4x3, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
It was bigger than any buck I've got hanging up here. Oh, dude, it was nuts.
Gotta just get that
But
tag next.
I know, but I mean, it was a lot of fun. I don't know if she ever ended up getting a shot off at anything. She had a lot of fun. At least she said she
Good.
did, and plans on doing it next year. And yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun.
Heck yeah. But, and you had some close encounters with bulls, or?
Oh yeah, I I mean, throughout the season, I was running into bulls. Nothing I could get a shot at.
Yeah.
But like that big one we talked about at the last during the last podcast. So me and that same coworker decided to camp out the last 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
and so we headed up around noon ish. Left from town here. I went and picked him up, and we headed up to the mountains. And there's a trail that goes to a lake a couple miles back in. We were going to take that trail to get up on top of tree line. And then from there, we were going to leave the trail and just bust over and hunt all over there.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's exactly what we do. It takes us a little bit to get up because we got some heavy packs. We are out of shape. Get up on top. Once we're into the opening, like it's just meadows up on top with a couple little trees here and there. Get
Mm-hmm.
in the opening, and just over the top, we hear bugling. We're like, dude, we're 30 minutes into this and we're already getting it started. Okay.
It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon then,
Yeah, it is a little later, but
or later.
because it took a while to get up, to drive up there, and then a while to get up on top.
Gotcha.
But we drop our packs there and we start going. And we could smell it. We could never bugled again, but we're pretty sure that they just end up belling off the edge right there.
Mm-hmm.
So we go back, get our packs, and we go and find where we want to make camp, which is right on the edge of this cliff pretty much. And where we decide to make camp, we drop our packs and look off the edge of the cliff, and down at the bottom, it's like 400 yards to the bottom. Uh, there's a herd of like 10 elk running across. One little bull and a bunch of cows. So we're like, all right, this is starting off good. Okay, we're not
Yeah.
going to make a play on those right now because for one, they're running away, and two, we'll get down there and we'll be like, yeah, we wanted to get a good idea for what we were going to do in the morning more so. If we could make a
Perfect.
good play on something that evening, we were going to. So we drop camp there. Don't even set it up. We just drop everything and head out. So that up on top up there, It's this giant, just above tree line deal, and it's got a couple ridges that go out of it, or
Okay.
fingers, or whatever you want to call it. And all of them
Yeah.
cliff off. Like, it's just cliffs off everywhere around that, except for the one little spot that we hiked up. And so we get out to the edge of the cliff, and we start glassing. And looking into this bowl right here, and it's pretty thick. We're like, something will have to be moving or in one of these little meadows for us to see it. We were watching for like 30 minutes and we weren't seeing anything. It's getting dark, and we're like, all right, well, I mean, we know there's elk in here. There's off this other side. Like, that might be where we head tomorrow. And we getting ready to get up, and with our bare eyes, not even in our binos yet, we can look down to this meadow that's like a mile away from us, and we can see something moving in there. And it turned away from us, and with our bare eyes, dude, you could see a rack. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So we pull up our binos and start looking. This is the biggest bull I have ever seen in my life during hunting season.
Golly.
Dude, 6 point, probably 350, 360 bull. Giant. Now that's me guessing, of course. We never saw it
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
sadly. But giant. That got our blood pumping.
Wait, I bet you didn't sleep much.
Oh, dude, we didn't sleep for crap. And he was just down there raking in the wallow. If it was an hour earlier, we'd have tried to make a play on it, make something
Oh yeah.
happen.
Oh yeah.
But it was already 20 minutes from dark, maybe. It would have taken us 30, 40 minutes to get down there, let
Yeah.
alone
You have had
finding it,
that
getting a
sprint
shot.
just to give them a chance.
100%. 100%. So we watch it. I got a video of it. It's bad video because again, it's like a mile away, and I got my phone up to
Yeah.
my binos is all, so I'm shaking a little bit too. But so I got
So
a little
all in,
video of
if
it.
you want to hook us up, we'd love it.
Yeah, that would be pretty nice.
Right.
But but yeah. So that night after it gets dark, we head back to camp, get the tent set up. As we're heading back to camp, bulls start bugling off the cliffs. There's at least two or three bulls going off back and forth, and they're going off like every minute. Like they're not leaving
And you can
much.
hear them from camp.
What's that?
You can hear them from camp, or it's just hiking down.
Yeah, hiking back to camp and at camp, we're hearing them the whole time. It's almost like they followed us around, and
Uh
they
huh.
just were bugling a couple hundred yards below us off the cliffs. So we get our camp set up, make some dinner. We're just chilling in the tent, eating dinner, and the bulls are going nuts, dude. Just going nuts the whole time. We decide to go to bed, and we can't sleep, and the bulls are going crazy. At one point, I know there were 6 bulls going off
Jeez.
because we had 2 or 3 that were right below us, another one farther up the canyon, another one the other way up the canyon, and another one that was up high with us in that meadow, probably 100, 200 yards from us. Like he was right there, and all of them were just going nuts all night long. They did not stop. We decided to
Jeez.
finally get out of bed at like 5:30, and the bulls are still all going crazy. And we just chilled until it got started to get a little lighter. The sun was kind of starting to come up, and so we were like, we know there's a big bull somewhere a couple miles that way,
Mhm.
but we've got bulls going nuts 200 yards that way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, giant bull, but we'd be stupid to leave these guys.
Oh yeah. I mean, and usually big bulls. I mean, if you just saw him, he probably wasn't vocal, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we heard him bugle once,
Oh, did you?
but that was it, and he didn't have any cows with him, nothing,
Yeah.
just him. So there's one bull down below us. It sounds pretty good, and a couple smaller bulls. You can tell they're going back and forth, and he's running back and forth between the two,
So he's chasing him
going
off.
yeah,
Yeah.
going nuts the whole time. And we can even hear some cows every now and then down there too. So we decided to split up. He went off to the left a couple hundred yards and bailed off. I went up to the right. And I made it about halfway up the ridge that I was going to go before I looked off, and there were three cows down below just watching me. So I was like, frick. So I just hunkered down, got out of their sight, and just watched them. And they just moseyed on up the ridge, up towards one of the bugles farther up. So I was like, well, that bull's probably going to follow him. So
Hmm.
I'm going to bail off right here and get set up right there. So I bailed off and I get set up in a great spot. And I can hear him coming. Like at one point, I know he had to have been, I know for a fact he was under 100 yards from me.
Yeah.
Because I could hear him. I could hear him just little grunts he was doing. I could hear him crashing through the trees. And then he shut up for a minute. And then when I heard him again, he was farther off. Not real far, but he had definitely gone away from me. And
Yeah.
the other bull is down in the meadow bugling, and he's bugling. And then that other one up the canyon still bugling. So I slowly am just making my way towards this guy, and he just keeps inching away from me. And I finally get to where I can see the meadow, and then I hear him, and he's up on the next ridge. He had gone through the
Oh.
meadow and up the next ridge. And that other bull is on the other side of the ridge bugling. They're going back and forth between each other. So I was like, oh man, he's obviously fired up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a chance. So I let off a bugle, just kind of a heftier one, like bit of rasp to it, and I was just like, here I am, son of a gun. So
Yeah.
I do it and just I let it rip. And 5 seconds later, dude, he rips back at me. So I'm like, it's on like Donkey Kong. And we start going back and forth, and I'm just overlapping his bugles, and I'm mimicking half of his bugles. He's getting pissed. And I can hear him coming down the ridge at me. And I'm got everything ready, and I'm still bugling at him and just raking trees and crashing everything I can. I could hear him doing the same, and he's getting closer. And then, but he gets to a point where he just won't come any closer.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna come to you then. So I
Mm.
start heading closer. I hurry and bust across that meadow at the bottom because that meadow stretches across the whole bottom. So there's no way to get around. And hurry and bust across that so nothing sees me. And once I get in the trees on the other side, there's a 5 point, which isn't the same bull because I can still hear him bugling up here. 5 point raking his horns about 60 yards from me. So I'm like, it's last day.
Yeah.
I'm taking this bull right here. He's raking. I get set up in a good spot, and I'm like, once he turns broadside, dude, he's mine. I get set up, and I go to grab my rangefinder. Fetching thing is in the tent still.
Oh.
Still in the tent. In my head, I am cussing and fuming and all sorts of pissed off. So
Oh,
I'm
because you
looking,
know he's
oh yeah. I'm looking at him. I was like, dang, dude, he's got to be 60 yards from me, really close to that. I'm trying to imagine all the times I practice shooting without my rangefinder, trying to get a decent size, like decent idea of how far he is. And I'm like, all right. So he doesn't turn broadside, but he starts coming at me a little bit, just a few steps towards me. And then he turns and comes right into this opening, broadside, and stops and feeds. Dude, you could not imagine a more perfect shot. I'm not even aiming uphill, but barely. And he's broadside, looking
Oh,
down. His head's covered by the bushes, so he can't even see me. So I'm like, okay. So I draw back. Nothing, dude. He's still eating. Doesn't even know I'm there. Calm myself down. And I just, for one, I was proud of myself because I wasn't shaking one bit. Just breathed real nice and easy. Dude, I was steady. And I was like, he's got to be 50 to 55 yards, somewhere in between there.
yeah.
So I've got my 50 pin right where I want it. Pull the trigger, and it goes right over his back.
Oh,
I can see the arrow
close
go
and important.
maybe that high above his back. I can see
Oh,
it just, and then he just jumps up after the arrow shoots over him. Jumps up, looks right at me, and turns and busts out of there. And I'm just
jeez.
like, are you kidding me? I stand up and start looking around. And yeah, no, it was maybe 40 yards, if that.
But
And
you got the front
I'm like,
head up. Yeah.
I'm like, how did I mess that up so bad? Like, because now I'm looking around. I'm like, of course he wasn't that far. There's no way he was
Yeah.
that far. I can see now he was like 35 yards from me. I'm like,
Yeah.
how did I jack that up so bad? I'm about ready to just chuck my bow and leave. Meanwhile, this whole time, that bull's still bugling up on the ridge. The same one I was bugling back and forth with, and the other one's off the other side still going nuts.
Yeah.
So I was like, this bull's gone. I'm going to wrap around the ridge and get up on top and get an idea of where these elk are and see if I can make a play on one of them. So I get up on top. Once I get up on top, I look down about now understanding a little bit better distance. Okay. Who knows exactly how far? Because obviously I wasn't great at judging. All right. But I'm looking down and I'm guessing 60 yards from me ish.
Uh-huh.
There's a little 5 point. Okay.
Smaller than the one you
Small,
missed?
small. Yeah. Yeah. It would have
Yeah.
been my smallest bull by far.
Gotcha.
So I'm looking at him. I was like, okay, I got a bull right here. And I look forward and I see about 5 or 6 cows right up here to my right. Anywhere between 50 to 100 yards between all of them. And then I can see the body to this one. And I'm like, that's that's big body. That's either a bull or a really big cow. I was like, either way, this last day, I'll take it. I'll take
Yeah.
a big cow. So I'm trying to get to where I can get a shot at this because it's in trees. Like it's in this, uh, like all this fallen over crap. Like it's kind of hard to get through there.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sitting there looking at it. And I'm like, okay, he's quartering away right now. All I can see is from like the shoulder back. So I'm like, it's, I'm going to guess 60 yards almost. 50 to 60, somewhere in there. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, if I can get up to this tree, it'll cut 10 yards off and I'll have a way better shot.
Yeah. You can make sure he's not spiked or anything.
Yeah. So I start to head up to that tree and he takes a step forward. Dude, giant 6 point. Dude, freaking huge. Just a big 6 point. I would,
So
I would, he's, he's a solid 310 to 320 bull. Beautiful. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
yeah.
So he stepped forward and I could see his head now, but I can't see his body.
Yeah.
And this cow, he just starts hooking onto her. Like she takes a step and he's right on her rear end the whole time. She starts
Hmm.
going up the ridge and he's right behind her. She comes back down, right behind her, goes back up, right behind her, comes back down, right behind her. In that time, I'm like inching my way forward a little bit to get to where I can get to this opening to where I can get a shot. I'm almost there, dude. And all of a sudden I hear crashing. And I look behind me and that 5 point comes right by me, busting through there. He
Oh.
busted through, the cows followed, and that bull, the big bull, he wasn't phased by it, but the cows took off, so he followed the cows.
Yeah.
Staying right on that cow's, dude, a foot behind her the whole time. I'm like, are you
So
freaking kidding me?
hindsight, if you would have stayed in that spot with the rangefinder, you think you would have killed him?
If I had my rangefinder, I would have been 1,000 times more confident.
Yeah.
If I had it and I knew he was in a range that I could that I was comfortable shooting in, I'd have taken the shot from the first spot.
Yeah.
But not having it with me, I
Yeah.
was
You
like,
just
I don't know for sure. I just botched 5 minutes ago that shot on another bull,
yeah.
so I'm like, I don't know. I can tell you this: between now and next year, I'm gonna know.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
gonna know. Okay.
Dude, I'm yeah, I think next last week of September I'm going to be in Colorado next year with you.
Yeah, dude.
So at
Okay.
least with a video camera.
Let me tell you this. This is the days. This is only maybe an hour and a half into the day. All
Jeez.
right. Those elk take off. I wrap around that ridge. Okay. So the two ridges meet. So I wrap around onto the next ridge and get up on top. And once I get up on top, I'm at a wallow. And
Oh,
once I get to that wallow, I look up because I hear something busting through. Two cows and a pretty good 5 point. Second biggest bull I'd seen that day. They go busting out. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And they went just where I couldn't see, and then I could hear them stop.
uh-huh.
So I start making my way over there. And once I can see that bull, one of the cows pegs me and she takes off and they take off again. Just to where I can't see and they stop. So I get up there again and same deal. Once I can see the bull a little bit, that cow takes off again and they all take off. So we're playing this cat and mouse crap down this ridge. And then finally they just kind of take off a bit farther and I'm like, dude, I don't know if I'm going to catch up to these guys.
Yeah.
And my buddy radios me and he's like, hey, let's meet up on top because I'm not seeing crap right now. Let's make a plan for what we want to do. I was like, all right. So I
You
leave
never
those
should have
elk.
left that wallow.
I know. We leave those elk. I head up. I get up on top, and there's these two ponds in this meadow. And I'm like, I just busted everything out of here. There's nothing else in here. I'm just going to cut through the meadow, save me 10 minutes.
yeah.
Cut right in between the ponds, and I hear busting up here. Like, are you kidding me? And this other 5 point runs into the meadow
Oh my
on the other side
goodness.
of the pond from me. I'm like, what the freak? So I get to the edge of the pond, and I'm looking, and I'm like, that's a long shot.
Yeah.
That's a long ways. I'm going to take it. So I draw back. Get my bottom pin set about 3 feet above its antlers. Right as I'm about to shoot, I was like, man, I would hate for this to hit it in the butt cheek and have it just be
Ruin the rest of
stuck
your
and
day.
not die. Yeah, I was like, I would hate that.
Yeah.
So I don't shoot, and I get my Onyx out and I range from where I was to where he was about 120 yards.
Who would take a shot that far?
I was guessing it was about 100, and I was like, I'm gonna take it.
Let me tell you, not to get in my story too much yet, but 120-yard hang time is a long time.
Oh, dude. Oh
But
yeah.
anyway,
So
keep
I,
going.
I mean, so I didn't take that shot. I try and wrap around the pond into the trees and try and get up to where I can maybe cut him off.
Mm-hmm.
And I see him again, but he sees me right away and he gets out of there.
Yeah.
Like this time I know he's gone. So I'm like, okay, I'll just go meet my buddy up in the meadow up top. So I'm heading up, and once I'm about to get to the meadow, dude, I bust another bull to my right. Didn't even know he was freaking there. Maybe 20, 30 yards from me. I just hear a big snort, and when I turn and look, I just see antlers running into the trees. I'm like, you freaking kidding me? But I can hear this thing crashing off. So I'm like, he's not stopping.
Yeah.
So I get up to the meadow, meet up with him. We're just sitting there talking, making a plan of what we want to do. And then these cows come walking out to us. And they're 70 yards. He's got a rangefinder with him, so I range him. They're 70 yards. And I'm like, all right, let's cut up over here and cut them off. Okay. So we cut up over, and I see one cow coming through, range it 30 yards. I'm like, all right, when that big cow comes through, I'm going to shoot her.
Uh-huh.
Because at this point, we're up on top. It's maybe a mile hike back to camp, but it's just flat the whole way.
Okay.
So I'm like, shoot her, go get the packs, get her, take it out. All right.
Yeah.
Not ideal. I would have rather got a bull, but you know what? I'll take it. So I'm ready, and I can see the head of the big one, and she stops and looks right at us. I'm like, you freaking kidding me? All I can see is her head, not even most of her neck. So I'm like, you kidding me? She turns and gets out of there. Those cows follow her. I'm like, this is bogus. I mean, I'm getting into elk all day, but I'm just botching half my opportunity.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, whatever. So we decide to split up and meet down at that wallow that I had
Uh-huh.
found. Go two
Did you
ways
mark it?
around this. Yeah,
Yeah.
2 ways around this ridge and meet at the wallow. So I go down my way, and once I start to come up the ridge, I look up, and about 50, 60 yards ahead of me, there's a 5 point. And I just see him walking to the left a little bit, and then he turns and goes over the ridge. Slow, like he's not going fast at all.
Yeah.
So I haul cheeks up to the top and get up to the top. He's nowhere to be found, dude.
Really?
I try calling. I just sit there and glass. Nothing, dude. He just disappeared. Like it's open. I should have seen him. Like a couple hundred yards, I can see he's gone. And when I saw him last, he was like slowly walking.
Yeah.
And then in the time it took me to run 50 yards up the hill, he was gone.
Huh.
Don't know how the freak. So I get to the wallow, and I'm just chilling there for like 2 hours. And the other guy never shows up. So I radio him finally, and he had just bailed and went clear down off the ridge to the bottom. I was like, thanks for telling me, Fetcher.
Yeah.
So I bail off, meet him at the bottom, and we're talking, and all of a sudden there's a bugle a couple hundred yards from us. So we're like, dude, let's go. I should say this also. The whole time this is going on, I can hear those other elk still bugling.
Jeez.
All right. They're constantly going away from us, but you can still hear them faintly. And
Yeah.
they're still going off every like minute or two. This entire time from like 7 p.m. that night before till now, which is like noon, they're still going. And so we try to make a play on this bull, get over to where he was. We had split up, get over to where he was, and I can see where he bailed off this cliff edge. There's this little drainage right there. And he
Hmm.
busted down through that to the bottom. Can't see him anywhere. And so at this point, we're kind of burnt. Like I'd gone miles already.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, let's kind of make our way back to camp, but let's go sit somewhere for a couple hours till it gets to a better time to hunt.
Yeah.
So we start making our way back. In
So do you
this
have any
area,
food pack, or are you just nope, just packless?
I got my little pack, like my
Okay.
little stalker pack I have.
Yeah. So enough for a
And
little snack, water and whatnot.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So we head back, and about 100 yards from where we had met back up and started heading back to camp, we jump a cow. And like right before we jump her, I stop and I'm like, dude, do you smell that? Like you can smell the bull.
Yeah.
And no sooner did I ask him that, she busted out. So I'm like, Frank. So we split up again, and that cow had gone off to my side. So I head over there and see her again, but she's constantly moving away from me. So I just can't get on her at all. Meanwhile, some more cows went up his way and a bull. And that bull he had at 30 yards, just shy of 30. And he's drawn back in this opening, in this little opening he's got. The bull's heading right for it. And right before it gets to the opening, it stops. And you can just see like the legs of it and the antlers a little bit. And the bull's just sitting there just grunting. And all of a sudden, one of the cows busts right at him. He's like,
Oh no.
I literally could have taken the arrow and stuck her as she went by. He's like, that's how close she came. She busted at him, and the other two took off, and that bull followed those two out.
Oh.
So we end up meeting again at this little waterfall that we find. Sit there for a minute, eat a little snack, hike up towards where we had first gotten into the elk that morning, jump another 5 point. Can't get back on him. So we finally get to this point, and we just sit there. We were there for like 3.5 hours, just waiting. We waited till about 5:30, and at that point, we were like, we couldn't get anything fired up. But then weren't running into anything, and we were like, dude, we've had a heck of a day. It's been a heck of a season. Let's go get camp. Let's go.
Yeah.
So we hike up a couple miles up back to camp because instead of climbing up that cliff, we went around. Got back to camp, got it packed up, and we, instead of taking the trail out, we decided to just bail off the edge, straight for the truck. Bail off into this big meadow, get to the edge of that. It's another cliff right there. And it looks down into this other bigger meadow. Okay, so from the top down to a meadow, cliffs into another meadow. At that one, dude, there's 3 bears in there.
No.
There's 3 bears in the meadow. At that point, we were like, okay, we're done hunting, whatever. It's getting
You both have
closer to
bears
dark.
against you.
No, just me. We're like, it's getting closer to dark. We're done. We see the bear, and dude, I'm like, I get my second wind. I'm like, oh, frick, let's do this. So there's one boar
Uh-huh.
and a sow and cub. Okay.
Okay.
This is what we didn't realize at the time. The boar wasn't really big. Like he was okay, but like he wasn't big by any means. The sow was huge.
Oh, really?
And the way the boar was acting, he looked like, again, he wasn't big. He looked like he could have been a cub. And the other one, we couldn't see for sure.
Uh-huh.
And so we're like, dude, if this is the sow's cub, it's big. Like
Big
it's
enough.
old.
Yeah.
It's old enough. Like it'll be fine on its own.
Yeah.
And the sow and the other bear are eating on this gut pile, I think is what it was. And that boar just kind of hung out with them a little bit and then went into the trees. So we bail off the edge of that dude, get down into the meadow on the far side where the breeze is coming to us, come up into the meadow. And the whole time I'm like, dude, those bears are just right there.
Uh-huh.
He's got the camera ready, filming this. I have his rangefinder too.
But you have your range trainer at this point, don't you?
I had mine, but it was in my pack because at that point we were done.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've got his rangefinder, dude, and we're just inching our way across this meadow, and we get to this point. I peek around this little tree, and that bear's maybe 10 yards from me. The sow,
Oh.
dude, she's huge. Oh my gosh, she was so big, and we don't see that boar at all. I'm looking at her, and I'm like, dude, this is a way to end a season.
Yeah.
She's She's 10 yards from me, dude. I ranged her 10.7 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I draw back. And I'm like, this is a dead bear. And I'm sitting there just waiting for a sec because I want to see the other cub to make sure.
Uh-huh.
And the cub walks out from behind her. And it's like this big.
Oh.
And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Drop my arrow, put it back in my quiver, and I'm like, we got to get the heck out of here.
Yeah.
She was facing away from me the whole time, sitting down, facing away. So
Oh,
I'm
so you still
like,
can make it up.
oh, I could have had a good shot still.
Yeah.
I was glad I didn't just do it because there were multiple times. I was probably drawn back for like 20 seconds.
Oh, yeah. You
There
could
was
punch it
multiple
pretty
times
quick.
I was like, oh yeah, I was like, I know that had to have been its other cub.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to shoot it. And
Yeah.
I kept just like, but I need to just make sure, fighting with myself back and forth. And I'm
That's a
glad I
good fight
did
to have.
because, yeah, because then that cub walked out and I was like, no way, dude. That cub was born a few months ago.
Jeez.
Put my arrow down. We got out of there. She never knew we were there. And we just got back to the truck. And that was it, dude.
Full draw on elk, bear. I mean, anything you got tagged for, you were in full draw that day.
Yeah.
Sheesh. That's awesome, dude.
In total, I saw like a dozen bulls that day, 2 dozen cows, if not more. Was in within range of 6 of those bulls, just impossible to get a shot on almost all of them. And then we ran into 3 bears on our hike out. Like, that's
Jeez.
about the best day you can get without getting one.
Yeah, that's about to say that's the best day you can get without ruining it and kill something to pack out.
Yeah. The only
I
bright
thought.
side about not getting one was we just had to carry camp out.
Uh-huh.
And then we got to the truck and we were done.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. That's a day. And you're
Yeah.
what, 10,000 plus?
We were where our camp was like 12,000 something.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then from camp to where I missed that first bull, just off the cliff and across the meadow, was like 11,000 something. Like the elevation change between camp and there was like 800 feet. It was quite a bit of a difference. Just to give
That,
an idea of like hiking back out of there, that's why we went, it was almost a mile up and then like a 40, 50 foot elevation climb, and then a mile back to camp instead of going straight up 800 feet.
yeah, that's a shot. So, no, dude, that sounds like a killer season or killer. Your last days there have just been killer, dude.
I
They
know.
just keep on getting
And
better.
yeah, so I mean, next year that means dead bull.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm dead serious. I'm gonna come down next year. Yeah. That was just
Yeah,
some of the
dude.
funnest elk hunting when I was there, and just listening to this, just like sparks and everything.
Oh,
You know, I
yeah.
was like, crap.
No, that was one of my funnest days for elk hunting ever
Uh huh.
until this year.